Well, hi everyone. Welcome to the Natural Mom Hub Google Hangout series. And we are so excited today to be with two experts on Dancing for Birth. So Stephanie Larson is the founder of Dancing for Birth, and Nina is an instructor in the city where I live in Denver. So I'm very excited to be joined by both these ladies today and to learn more about your program and how it helps moms to get ready. So Stephanie, can we just start by telling us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, I am. Oh, I've always loved to dance. My main career when I first got started was in fashion design, and I was designing clothes by day, but at night I was going out in New York City exploring all the different kinds of dancing that's available, which is everything from cultural dance to ballroom dance. So it was really, really fun. And it was actually the birth of my first daughter that shifted me entirely into a new field, which is the birth field. And I can tell you a little more about that story maybe later on, but that was when it shifted into being a birth doula and a childbirth educator and a Dancing for Birth instructor.
That's great. So I guess you kind of touched on it, and obviously it was your own experience becoming a mother that inspired you probably around this program, but how did you, or is there more to that? How did you get inspired to create this?
Well, I was really fortunate when I was pregnant with my first baby. This is now 17 years ago, and I was with midwives at a freestanding birth center. And so they were very holistic minded, and they saw no problem with me continuing to dance every day during my pregnancy. So I kept that up through my whole pregnancy. In fact, it felt so good, I just continued to dance during my birth. So I was on my feet dancing for my entire birth, which was only 5 hours, so really short by standards. And so it was short and euphoric and just made me feel so powerful and strong and ready to be a mom. And so I was so grateful for that experience, and all I wanted to talk about with my friends and the other new mommies was birth and what was your birth like. So I asked everybody, and my peers they didn't have much to say. It was a traumatic experience for them, something they'd rather forget, painful, difficult, sometimes scary. And so they thought I was kind of odd because I'd had this really empowering, wonderful experience. But that was the beginning of me starting to think of Dancing for Birth and, just knowing that I had something I could share with people that could hopefully enrich their birth and mothering experiences.
Wow. And so how long did it take from becoming a parent to really kind of formalizing this curriculum? Is that an appropriate way to say it? And now you're international and there are Dancing for Birth instructors around the world. So how did all of that come to be?
It came to be gradually. So back 1998 was when I gave birth. So all these ideas were starting to form. I was also, when my second child was born in 2000, I became a birth doula and childbirth educator. So right around that same time, I developed Dancing for Birth classes. And I was just teaching one class a week in my community. I lived at that time in New Jersey. So I was teaching one class a week to moms and also to new moms. So it was prenatal and postnatal. And I was weaving in birth information and just, telling them about how they could get up and move around in labor to have a better birth. And they were having really great birth experiences. So little by little, their doulas, their childbirth educators, their midwives, their nurses started coming to class too. And so they started to request a certification program because they wanted to teach it. And by 2007 is when Dancing for Birth became a certification program, and the first Dancing for Birth instructor other than myself was certified.
Wow, that's great. That's quite the journey, but obviously it caught on because it works.
Yeah, people really, they love the class. They love what, the confidence that it gives them. They love learning about their bodies. They love learning about all their choices in childbirth and how they can be empowered. And so it's really resonating, and it's something that they come back to with their babies. So it's a continuous circle of support and information and wellness
That's great. So let's talk about a little bit, if you can give us some specifics about why it works, or, you're obviously very educated in the birth process as well as having a dance background. So, why moving during pregnancy and why is that so important for us?
It's important to move during pregnancy for overall wellness. Also, it's really good for preventing gestational diabetes. It lowers depression levels. Dancing promotes the release of endorphins, and that makes us feel really euphoric and really good. It also minimizes pain, so if there's any pregnancy aches or pains, it's really easy to get those to diminish. And surprisingly enough, it's also really good for the baby. So fetal heart health improves during pregnancy and also after birth.
Wow. Obviously we know that that's good for us, but when it comes time to actually go into labor, how does like the preparation and I guess maybe talk about like ideally when are moms starting this program? Is it at the end of their pregnancy or kind of throughout, or how do you like to get to see moms active in this?
Well, the Dancing for Birth classes are beginning as a preconception class. You can start it when you're thinking about having a baby. At any trimester, when you find out about a class near you, you can join in. It's never really too early or too late. And it continues after the baby's born for as long as you'd like to come and wear your baby. So it's really a class for every mom and everyone who's thinking about becoming a mom.
I just
Great.
want to interject. It's really interesting how many people have taken the training who have become pregnant very soon after taking the training, and then as they become instructors are dancing through their own pregnancy, which is pretty wonderful to see. Also, there has been quite a few YouTube videos lately of women dancing in labor. There was one in Boston. You can Google, it's the Tootsie Roll. We can send you a link to that, something related to that. So it's really great. It seems to be catching on that people are really enjoying dancing during labor.
Yeah, I know which videos you're talking about, Nina, like the ones that go viral and you have to be like about to pop and, basically shaking dancing the baby out at that point. So what if you're a little bit like, I have no dance background. I never took ballet as a little kid. I've never been in a formal, I think I took Zumba and stepped all over myself. So how advanced is the dancing part of this? I've got the pregnancy piece already taken care of, but what about like the actual dance background?
Well, when you come to Dancing for Birth classes, you quickly find out that it's okay if you have 2 left feet. We really start at a very basic level, but people can make it more complicated or take it at a faster pace. It's really just suiting the people who are in the class, and there's a lot of room within the class for it to be catered to each individual. So I would say everyone should be confident that they could come to class and really enjoy themselves. We like to say, I'm a dancer, and we leave off the adjectives.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that reminds me a little bit of just like what I'm working on right now is, writing my own birth affirmation. Stephanie, I'm 17 weeks tomorrow, so, still kind of early, but laying foundation kind of emotionally and mentally and, putting my visualizations around my birth. And so I like that. I am a dancer. It doesn't really, that can be, in my car. Doesn't have to be some professional moves. So, all right, that's reassuring for people.
Yeah,
so,
and that's something that we specifically do with every class is we have these set of cards that Stephanie developed that have affirmations and inspirations, and we take a part of the class and sit in a circle and find something that resonates with us and hold to that each class, and it gives everyone something to think about through the week.
That's great. So Nina, talk a little bit about just from the teaching side, what that's been like, and maybe if there are any stories that you've heard from moms that we can share with their permission, maybe. So.
Sure. Yes. So I'm a doula as well, and they work really well together to be able to use these techniques with my clients. Sometimes I'll dance with them during prenatal visits. I actually had one mom recently that we were doing some dancing for birth moves, and her baby flipped. It was right at that mark where she was getting worried. Okay, is my baby gonna flip around? And just a couple days of doing these certain dancing for birth steps that her baby flipped. She said she could even feel them. So that's really reassuring to know that that's happening. And to watch these moms, you know, instinctively listen to their bodies and use that movement during labor. It's a beautiful process to see, and it's nice to actually have that visual to say, yeah, this is working, and you know, people are using this to really feel better and feel confident about what they're doing, and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely enjoy that with the class.
Yeah, that sounds great. So I like how you talked about the class has like physical components, but then also sounds like you're taking time to focus. What else would a typical class be like? Can you guys describe that?
In addition to having the physical aspect and that support in the beginning and at the end, throughout that, we're explaining all the moves and talking about the benefits of it in every aspect of your pregnancy process. So, you know, preconception, how does that prepare your body? How does it prepare your body prenatally, toning your muscles? And then actively in labor, how are we helping the baby descend and increase oxytocin flow? And then postpartum, toning your muscles and getting your belly back in shape, and using the dancing for birth time to bond with your baby, wearing your baby in class, and using the moves to comfort them because they're familiar, and you know, it can really bring you closer with your baby.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything you want to add, Stephanie?
We call dancing for birth classes the trifecta because it's your fitness and wellness, it's your childbirth and parenting wisdom, and then it's your celebration and your support circle. So you have a knowledgeable mentor is your instructor that you can come to every week with your questions about pregnancy, labor, birth, and parenting. And then you've got your full circle of other women dancing with you that lots of them form wonderful friendships that are enduring and last.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned, I mean, is it typical that the instructors also have training in other areas and are, you know, working with pregnant women in other capacities?
Yes, dancing for birth instructors are birth professionals. So they're either doulas, midwives, nurses, childbirth educators, or they're involved in some other aspect of well women care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. So like you said, they are able to be a resource for, you know, even other areas beyond beyond class. Well, Nina mentioned something about, you know, the baby flipped. So what is it about this, or was the getting the baby in the right position part of your goal when you created this, or is it just a cool byproduct of moving your body in this way that the baby kind of responds in a positive way for labor and for birth?
Yeah, it's very intentional. The moves that we have are designed to get the baby in the optimal position for birth, and also to give women the knowledge that they can help their baby turn if the baby gets into a position that's difficult for labor, such as breech or transverse or other malpositions.
Yeah. Wow, that's even more exciting to know that there's a way to approach that, or to not even really think about it like, okay, well, my baby's going to be this way. It's like, well, you know, maybe we can guide them through movement, you know, to get things in order and get in the right spot.
Exactly, and it's really gentle because we're basically helping mom use their own body position to invite the baby to get into a better position. So that's the safest and gentlest way to get babies in a good position, instead of, you know, sometimes there's something called an external version where a care provider would physically move a baby into a better position from the outside. But this is great because we're inviting the baby to turn, so we know that baby will not get into that position unless it's a healthy one for the baby.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds great. Well, all of this chatter and discussion of everything, Stephanie, would you be open to showing us a few moves, or, you know, what are some of kind of the basics that people can expect or would see more of in a Dancing for Birth class?
Absolutely. Well, one of the things we do, of course, is we are upright. So when you practice being upright during your pregnancy, it's a natural step to be upright during your birth. And we know that that is going to make baby 54% less likely to become distressed during labor. So that's really excellent for for the mom and baby and for the birth. So we like to do a lot of upright dance moves, of course. I can show you one right now. We call it Birth Goddess. And so I'll back up here as much as I can. So we come and we get into a nice kind of open plie or squat position. Arms are extended. So we're becoming into our most empowered position that we can be. And then we're going to rock our hips gently from side to side. And every time we put our pelvis or our hips into this asymmetrical position, where one side is higher than the other, then we're encouraging baby to access all the usable space in the pelvis to assume that optimal position so that baby can descend and rotate and make the birth a lot quicker. And we know that when moms are getting up and dancing around during their birth, they shorten their labor significantly. So that's Birth Goddess. Now I'll take us into one that's called Infinite Patience. Again, we need to bend our knees. That's going to help us with our hip mobility. And then we're going to draw an infinity sign with the pelvis. So that'll look like this.
So I think even I could handle that, Stephanie. This is good news.
And not only is good for labor, but it really feels good. So you can use this as a comfort measure. And when women are dancing during labor, they're much less likely to decide to have an epidural, which is really good to help the labor progress.
Mm-hmm. And so you mentioned some stats about labor quickening. Is that, I mean, you have, like, we've documented that with students of Dancing for Birth and how their labors were actually impacted?
There's a Cochrane database review that shows that when women are getting up and moving around during labor, that there's 20% fewer epidurals, 21% fewer episiotomy, 23% fewer assisted deliveries, that's like vacuum and forceps, and also a really important one, 30% fewer cesareans.
Wow, those are fantastic stats. I mean,
yeah, really good.
You know, I think for anybody that's concerned about, okay, well, how do I would like a natural birth, but, you know, what's my plan for getting there? This seems like a great way to just be more comfortable moving, because pregnancy, especially, you know, in a few months, I'm going to be super uncomfortable. So knowing how to kind of get my body feeling good and, like you mentioned, comfort measures, that's just fantastic.
Yeah, so the key bit of knowledge to know is just that when you listen to your body and you listen to your baby in labor, then you naturally are going to start to move in ways that will assist your birth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So some of what I've read, I mean, obviously in our society today, and I work at a computer, so I sit a lot. That doesn't really seem very consistent with the way historically or culturally or, you know, anthropologically we used to be. So do you think there's some connection to that with birth, obviously, and how do we start to, like, bring all this movement back into our lives? Do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. We have much more sedentary lifestyle than, you know, our foremothers, obviously, and also we have a lot of bits of furniture and, like, our cars, our couch, our rocking chair. Those things put us into reclining positions a lot. That's actually turning our babies into a posterior position, which means that baby's facing forwards. And that can make the labor more prolonged and make the sensations of labor somewhat more intense. So it's really important for us to kind of get into these upright forward-leaning positions throughout our day as much as we can, even if that means just, you know, standing up from your desk and just starting to do, we call it a full moon circle, but you can easily just get up from your workstation and just start doing something like this throughout your day a little bit.
Try it, Catherine.
All right, I didn't check my camera. I don't know where we're going to okay. But yeah,
I'll do it too.
Oh,
honestly, that feels really nice, you guys.
Right. It doesn't take much to give that sense of relief, and also just being aware of body positioning can help baby get into an optimal position.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
So
do I need to reverse direction, Stephanie?
Yes, reverse the direction. And in our Dancing for Birth classes, we have no chairs, except for one chair we use as a prop just to demonstrate some comfort techniques like lap sitting. So we sit on the floor and we build up our muscles by using them to keep ourselves in a comfortable position while seated on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's great. Well, and I feel like, it's hard to get open here when we're always sitting, and I know that I'm kind of a butt clencher, which is bad because, we have to be loosened and open there.
That's right, we really do. We need to work on our pelvic mobility, and in our Dancing for Birth classes, we focus on 4 types of dance. They're all chosen because there's lots of hip mobility. So we do Middle Eastern dance and African dance, Latin dance, and Caribbean dance. So anything that really can get the hips moving, that's what we're learning.
I like it. So do you think that, is there benefit in, obviously if moms come to your class once a week, and they're going to be employing it, and do you find that they're, incorporating it throughout their day, every day? Is that enough to make a difference on their labor?
Yeah, even if you only make it to 1 class before you give birth, you're going to learn a lot of things you can use in your labor. But ideally, you want to start as soon as you can because it's important to have body memory. What we want is for your body to remember it. We don't want to turn on our neocortex, this modern brain, because our birth instincts are residing in our primal brain. And so if we use our thinking brain, we can't access our primal brain as well. So really you want to come early. You want to let it get in your body. You want your body to know what to do. You can really turn your brain off and just go with it.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So Stephanie, we did mention that Dancing for Birth is an international offering. Where and how do moms get to participate, and if we have any providers that are interested in this and being able to offer this, as Nina, I'm sure you're using it with moms regardless of whether they've made it to a Dancing for Birth class. Just seems like once this education is with you, it's just another tool in your toolbox. So I want to give you guys an opportunity to talk about, where and when and what's coming up, and how people can learn more.
Yeah, Dancing for Birth classes are offered all over the world, and so moms and families can find a class near them by going to dancingforbirth.com and clicking on our class locator. Then they'll find a class near them. If by chance there's not a class by them, we do have a DVD, so you can do it at home in your living room. And then any birth professionals or anyone who's interested in being an advocate and getting into the birth world can become a certified Dancing for Birth instructor by taking one of our training workshops, and these are also offered globally. Also providers like doctors, midwives, nurses, childbirth educators, doulas, who want to incorporate this into their knowledge base can attend our training as well.
That's great.
And those who have taken our training but aren't offering classes are in a list of our birth professionals. So if you can't find a class in your area, do check the Birth Pro list and see if there's a birth professional in your area that offers that knowledge base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. Thanks, Nina, for sharing that. So, so dancingforbirth.com, people can find in their specific areas. And then, Nina, since we're in Denver, do you guys want to talk about what's coming up for all of our Denver followers?
Yes. So on March 12th and 13th, Stephanie is going to join us for birth professional training. So that will be a 2-day workshop. And then on Sunday, on the 13th at 10 a.m., we are opening the workshop to new moms. So postpartum, anyone who is wearing their baby, and pregnant women, Catherine, can come to and take part in a free class. And so it's a 90-minute class. You can see exactly how an actual class would be and take part in that. And there's no cost for new moms. But birth professionals in the area, go to the website on our training schedule. You can register right there for the training. So that's coming up here in just a couple weeks.
That's great. And so, Stephanie, now you're traveling the world teaching this method to birth professionals everywhere.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and it's really fun to learn how universal our needs are as pregnant and birthing and new moms. We really all need the same thing, want the same thing, and dance is a universal language.
So one question that just popped into my head, as you travel around, is it easier in other cultures for people to grasp this than it is for us kind of like uptight
That's a good
Americans?
question.
Well, some countries more or less, you know, resonate with the idea. New Zealand is a place that I've really enjoyed going to, and their midwives are in charge of all births there. They refer out to a specialist or a doctor if needed, but midwives are in charge. And generally, midwives are, you know, really on board with the idea of, hey, let's get up and move around during labor and do what feels good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think, I think there's starting to be some more awareness about, being flat on our backs is not really a great idea if we're trying to progress in any sort of way to meeting our baby. But it sounds like something like this just kind of helps to reinforce that and spread that, and so that moms are more comfortable upright and on their feet and moving around. So that's great. Is there anything that either of you want to add about this that people who are expecting or curious about the program need to know?
Well, they should know they can get a free class if they just want to check it out. So at dancingforbirth.com on the class locator, they can get a coupon for a free class. So they can bring that to an instructor and check out the class and then see if it's a good fit for them.
Yeah, that's great. How about you, Nina? Anything you want to add from your experience teaching and working with moms one-on-one?
Yeah, and especially like you were saying, like, well, I don't really have any dance experience. I don't know if dancing is really what I want to be doing. It really is meant for no dance experience necessary. They're just simple moves that anyone can really wrap their head around. And one of my favorite things is watching moms go, aha, that makes so much sense. Oh, this feels good, and really resonating with the idea. And they pick their favorite music. Everyone has, their own special thing that they really enjoy, and just finding that groove and that confidence in their own body that you have the ability to birth your baby within you, and being able to, trust your instincts and really resonate with that movement is wonderful, and anyone can do it.
Great. Well, I'm really excited to come check out the class in Denver in a few weeks and meet you in person, Stephanie. I look forward to that. And it's wonderful just to know that this is something, I think sometimes when we're active before pregnancy, and then there's all these questions about, okay, well, what's still safe for me to do? What's probably not a great idea for me to be doing? And then to have programs like this that are helping us to maintain that wellness piece, but also meeting that end goal of, a fast and, easy labor, and, to know that the baby's, optimizing position and everything else. So what an awesome program, Stephanie. I'm super impressed that this has just like caught like wildfire and is, global now. So congratulations to you. And Nina, thank you so much for bringing this to Denver. Look forward to seeing you both in a few weeks. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Catherine. This has been really fun.
Bye.